It's a shocking tale of expulsion, revenge, treacherous mass murder, and official cover-up by the Mormon Church. We briefly tell the story of the Meadows Massacre. The history of Mormonism is fraught with violent persecution. Some of the worst anti-Mormon violence took place in Missouri and Illinois in the 1830s and 40s. Years after relocating to Utah, the Mormons remembered who had driven them from their former homes and executed their patriarch, Joseph Smith. When a party of around 120 people from that area passed through Salt Lake and down to the southern route headed for California, many Mormons took notice. The passers-through were referred to as immigrants. They stopped their wagons at Mountain Meadows. This was the last green grazing area with water before the wide desert began. Indians attacked the party, who drew their wagons into a defensive circle. After several days of fighting in the heat and running low on water, a Mormon leader, John Lee, rode up to the besieged immigrants, informing them that he was the Indian agent for the area. He gained their trust and promised to deliver them from the Indians as long as they followed his commands. They agreed. Immigrant women and children were separated from the men and marched in a group ahead of the men by about a quarter mile. The disarmed men marched in single file, each escorted by a Mormon guard at his side. The march stopped at a pre-designated location. John Lee gave a cry, "Halt!" or "Do your duty," depending on the source. At this signal, each Mormon guard shot the captive man next to him. Some Mormons who refused the order fired into the air. Indians at the location came out of hiding and attacked the remaining immigrant men with bows and arrows, clubs and knives. Indians also murdered the women and all the children who were considered old enough to talk. 18 younger children were spared. Initial reports out of Utah blamed the Indians entirely for the atrocity, but eventually the truth emerged. Official church policy was that the massacre was done by Indians, but it was known that a few white men were present at the scene. However, if they took part, they bear the responsibility themselves and did not represent the church in those actions. Blame for the massacre was shifted to John Lee, who was designated as the scapegoat. He had been excommunicated by the church and lived in isolation for years prior to standing trial. His first trial was declared a mistrial, but the second ended in a conviction. He was executed by firing squad at the same spot where the massacre took place nearly 20 years earlier. The execution took the pressure off the church as a whole, sparing its esteemed leaders such as Brigham Young from further scrutiny. Closer studies reveal, however, that Young was likely an accessory after the fact. There are many more facets to the story that we can't get to in this short summary. Mormon author Juanita Brooks' expose, written in 1950, is an excellent place to begin a study of the Mountain Meadows Massacre.